After some incredible founder and investor stories, the 2025 Black Hat edition of Cyberbytes the podcast wraps up with a bang. It was a pleasure to record with sitting CISOs Moody and Rinki Sethi, also general partners of the early stage security fund Lockstep. Their reputation precedes them, and it was a pleasure to talk through the journey and their investment thesis. I'm Oliver Legg, co-founder of Aspiron Search. Enjoy the show. Well, it's a long-awaited pleasure to welcome Rinki Sethi and Moody from, well, there's a mouthful of companies to say that you're coming from. So, Lucas, you're the SVP of Security and CISO of Alteryx.
Yep.
Rinki, you are now the Chief Security Officer of Upwind Security, and both general partners of the Lockstep Venture Fund. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's
Thanks
good to be
for
here,
having
man.
us.
I've never started a podcast with a shot of Jameson's before, but given your story of how you've got cases and cases of Jameson's piled up at the Lockstep HQ in SF, I think it would be very rude not to.
Yeah,
Seeing as we are in
an animal and
Vegas.
a beast.
Ollie, you're the only one we would do this before noon with.
It's
My
not
rule
live.
is when the sun goes down, but I guess in Vegas.
We don't have to
it's
say what
appropriate.
time it is. Well, cheers and welcome to the show.
Cheers.
Perfect.
right.
And now
Way
we
to
can
start a
talk with
podcast.
burning voices all the
Yes.
way through. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on. And I guess, where do you want to start? Because you are CISO practitioners turned venture capitalists. Would love to, I guess, just dive into how did that all come about and how the hell do you actually juggle being full-time security practitioners whilst running a venture fund as well?
Yeah, well, I guess I'll start. I've been in the security business for 26 years. Rinki, 21? We've been doing this a long time. And through the course of those years, we've gotten involved in the disruption community almost by necessity, right? So going back 15, 20 years, I was at eBay, PayPal. A lot of the things that we're seeing from a security perspective were relatively novel, right? Other companies weren't really seeing them. And so the only way to truly solve them at scale was to work with, these founders that could innovate and to kind of support them through the development of these products that then they went to market with. And so we were always in that orbit. And so it was a natural progression for us to go from that to angel investors, in some cases advising companies to support their growth or to support their scale, because very few companies at that time had seen it at eBay scale or seen the economy at eBay scale. And then that continued to progress. And so, fast forward to our time at maybe Palo is a good segue, but at Palo Alto Networks, not only were we security practitioners, but we also worked at an enterprise software and enterprise security company. And so we got to kind of look under the hood in an even more profound way. And so when it was an apple in our eye to ideate around what Lockstep could and should be, it was an easy fit. And so we initially made a number of investments out of what we call our Fund Zero before leading into Lockstep Fund One. So.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Lucas and I, we go back 16 years together. And so back at eBay, we were both really passionate and early adopters of technology and kind of continued that through our career. We've worked together, 4 companies together. And it's been an amazing journey. And we were we've been doing all these angel investments together. Let's go raise a fund and let's stay practitioners through it. And also, one of the things we've always believed strongly as we've been building Lockstep has been all about the community and bringing the community together. How do we bring practitioners together in meaningful ways and really roll out that red carpet for CISOs and practitioners, because folks work hard and we need to have some fun together and help each other out.
Yeah. I mean, your event's always awesome. And we've got an eagerly awaited one tomorrow night, which James sat just there, has spent obviously a lot of time organising, but that's going to be awesome. The Lockstep party at the Venetian, and so your angel portfolio is really impressive. And what do you look for in great early stage companies, and what are some of the signals of some of the success that you've had from the angel investments you made pre-fund?
Okay. Like I think with some of the early, like this is how we've operated. Like early founders might pivot, and the product might change, the tech might change, like how they're thinking about the problem space might even change. What we believe really strongly about is like we really have to have conviction in the founders. Like if the founders are really curious, if they are falling in love with the problem, and we believe that they're just gonna, we love them, and that's what's gonna drive us to go and make an investment. And then we're gonna believe that like they may pivot and they may do different things. We have a lot of confidence in them, and I think that's super important to us early on.
Yeah, I just plus one that. I mean, for us, when involved in early stage investing, it's almost 100% getting to know the founders and understanding how their brain works. And there's moments where Rinki and I will spend some time with a set of founders or a set of co-founders or a founder, and in 5 minutes in, like our body language is such that we both understand that this is somebody that we want that we want to play a role with. And to the degree we can be wind in their sails, we want to do that. And so, and that's kind of where the Lockstep name comes in. I don't know if I ever shared with you, where we came up with the name Lockstep. As we were ideating, Rinki mentioned community is really important to us. It was kind of serendipitous because after the pandemic, we're like, what do we need to do to get practitioners back together in person again? And so that was always in our head for years. So this leading to community build was kind of serendipitous. But the other side was, we know we love walking alongside founders in whatever capacity. Sometimes it's coaching. Sometimes, as we joke, it's cleaning the boogies out of their eyes and ushering them into the world, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's supporting like early product market fit. Sometimes it's shaping how they're messaging product. Sometimes it's running events and getting them in front of practitioners and things like that. Regardless of what it is, we like to consider ourselves walking in lockstep with our founders and kind of almost playing like an extended, executive role for their companies. And we love doing that. And so it kind of fit. So
that's awesome. And like beyond the obvious, they're not driven, they're not truly motivated, they're in it for the wrong reasons. Are there any particular signals that will completely turn you off from investing in a founder? Anything out of the ordinary obvious things?
I think the few things, one, if it's obviously outside of our strategy or an area that we don't necessarily know well, because our fund is mostly focused on cyber and some adjacent industries. But for us, I think it'll be like a real test for folks is how they're going to take feedback. And Lucas and I are probably like two of the most direct people that I know, our strength and our weakness probably. But we'll have really and it's what founders actually absolutely love about us is we don't beat around the bush. We'll say it as it is. And then we want to have like a very active dialogue. And if the founders aren't open to feedback, that's a real signal that this is probably not going to be good chemistry for us, because a lot of times like with the CISO and security community, they're going to tell you like, hey, these are my problems. This is how I see it. They're going to give feedback. That's how you have successful design partnerships. So that's like a real red flag.
Yeah,
and I'll add to that. Agree wholeheartedly. The other side is you've got to have. Rinki said earlier, you got to love the problem. Sometimes the problem isn't quite defined yet. You got to show passion for whatever it is you want to execute against, and it's easy to see, in my opinion, if the passion isn't truly rooted in a desire to innovate. And so it's, detecting that and bringing founders to have the right dialogue so that we can kind of evaluate that, I think is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And I mean, this is more of a personal question, I guess, but like, how the hell do you actually juggle it? Because being a CISO alone has not only is it a C-level, high intensity, high demand job, but it comes with a lot of stakes these days, like personal stakes to whoever is in that position. How do you actually juggle fulfilling that role properly, whilst searching for, investing, interrogating these founders, and then actually offering them the support they need at the same time? Like how do you manage that?
I think so. It was Lucas and I kind of kickstarted this whole thing together, and it was just him and I at the very beginning, kind of running with this. And it's something we're super passionate about, and we do evaluate founders and startups as a part of our day jobs, right? But as we started getting involved in the community, and as we started really having more events and just meeting more and more founders, and founders talk to founders, and then it's like your plate is full with them. One of the things that we kind of jokingly at an event that we had told an individual that, hey, we'd love to have you come and help build community. But we hired James Serasio as our full-time operating partner into the fund, who helps us with the community events and kind of gives us a lot of relief, meets with our founders, helps with that relationship, and basically covers our blind spots. So that's been like a huge thing for us. And yeah, it's sometimes I feel like we're working maybe like 100-hour weeks or more. But at the end of the week, we're not tired. We're like super energized. I think we love what we're doing, and cybersecurity is our passion. The innovation's our passion. We love working with founders. And of course, staying a practitioner really helps us, just being in touch with the problems that security folks actually face.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most cliche quote ever, isn't it? But do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I guess it's
true.
Proof of that.
It's hard for a lot of folks to find that, and I really believe we found it. Never tired. I was going to say never tired, but often hungover. But that's a story for another day. And it's probably obvious.
Helped by this, I guess. I'll play no part in it.
What I'd add to what Rinki said is, we've got a lot of help, and we've got a great community of folks that lean in and want to see what we're building at Lockstep be successful. We've got a great community of practitioners that lean in and support the companies that we're involved in. We've got, as Rinki mentioned, we've got James, who not only supports on like building community, throwing amazing events like the one that we're talking about on Wednesday, but also supports in like early founder-led sales and identifying, the right sized and right scoped customers for our founders and things like that. So it's been an amazing kind of, amalgamation of talents that come together to support. And yes, we do work, 100-hour weeks, but it's fun. So it's good.
Yeah. And because I know you now have, from the new fund, you have a few startups that have come out of stealth. They're public. Talk us through some of the recent investments that you're able to talk about at this stage.
Yeah, we have 8 investments in the fund. I think one you're going to be talking to right behind us, which we're excited about. But I think we can talk about most of them, isn't that right?
Most, all but one, maybe 2.
Okay. So I'll mention a few and then I'll hand it over to you. But one of our very first investments was Cogent. We're co-invested with Greylock on that one. They're a vulnerability management company, and really disrupting how we do vuln management as a whole, and how we solve for especially the last mile, which is where we struggle the most in the industry. Another one is Coverbase. They're in the third-party security space, really kind of applying AI to like help scale that function that we all know is super, super painful. We love working with Vineet at Cogent and Clarence, the CEO at Coverbase.
I several more. One company called Vanish ID that I think you may know, right? Vanish ID. Think of them as
they rebranded, right? They were Picnic.
Yes, those guys. Phenomenal company. Think of them as like an enterprise-oriented digital privacy platform. So they're doing great work. Let's see, behind that, IceGuard. You didn't mention IceGuard. No. I was processing as you were talking, so I want to make sure I didn't double cover. But IceGuard's a great company. We're co-invested with Khosla. It's a company founded by the authors of Presto Trino, of Meta fame, and these guys are going after next gen, call it third wave SIM. Really thinking about kind of the security data platform and enabling the development of AI applications on top. And then we've got, June, an amazing company co-founded by the founders of Simplify, that was sold to Google. We're co-invested with Bold Start, and they are really tackling agentic security ops. So there's a few others, but I think that's a good list to start with.
Yeah, awesome. And I think we need to do a longer deep dive episode here, because there's like, we've literally just touched on some really interesting topics. But I think to wrap up this like in-person Black Hat recording, if I was a very passionate, driven, innovative new founder of a security company, why should I want to work with you guys, and why would I want to try and get money and investment from Lockstep?
We're often told that from a lot of our founders, in fact, this is what got us on this path, was when we were making our angel investments, which were tiny little checks, folks would say, like, if you led, we would have gone with you. Or like, even though you're a tiny little angel check, you guys are leaning in more than any of our other investors. And it's because, like, one, we spend a lot of time building relationships with security practitioners. And that means, like, we spend a lot of personal time mentoring, building relationships, like working through, like, just sharing thoughts with other leaders. And that ends up being like a huge value add for our founders. And just building out that community. And so we really lean in heavy. I mean, one of our founding team, they work out of our office every day, even though we're not the lead investor. And we're just, I think that's what we bring to the table. I think they know we're going to give hard feedback, and we're going to bring the community to help them. But at the same time, we know how to have fun.
Yeah, awesome.
We're not afraid to call the baby ugly if the baby's ugly. And that plays into kind of being direct, as Rinki pointed out earlier. But like, we work really hard at this, and I think it shows, and I hope it shows. And we often will talk to folks if they're considering us for an investment, or considering working with us in some capacity. Take your pick of folks that we work with and cold reach. We don't have to direct you towards a particular person, because we're confident that if you speak with anybody that we're engaged heavily with, that the feedback's going to be the same. That we punch way above our weight class. And so that to me is like at the heart of Lockstep.
Yeah, love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. And let's get something in the diary to do a much deeper dive at some point.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to share with you all the companies and portfolios, so it'd be fun.
100%.
Cool.
Well, enjoy the rest of Black Hat, and bring on tomorrow's Lockstep event on Wednesday.
Can't wait, and thanks for partnering with us on that. And thanks for the Jameson.
Yeah, well, you can
We'll take the bottle home with us.
Yeah. I'll put it in. It's America though, so we'll get a brown paper bag for you and a straw. But no, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Love you guys.